Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa
Waalaikum
barakatuh.
salam wa barakatuh.
Welcome to Muslima Speaks Tribe Mental Health Summit panel session 2 for the second for day 2. A pleasure to be here. I hope you guys have been having a wonderful session so far since yesterday. My name is Maya Fuad Gafar and I'm the moderator for today's panel. The topic for today's panel is the role of family and community in preserving the mental health of the Ummah. And with me here, I have two wonderful and amazing speakers. Our first speaker is Dr. Rashida Adetun Okeolanyo, also known as Olori Adetun. She's a school directress, certified marriage and family counselor, CEO of Royal Amity, also the CEO, lead counselor of Teens World Professional Services, and the initiator of Maslov Charity Initiative. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Waalaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Glad to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you, ma'am. And our second speaker is Halima Adewuyi Olatunde. Halima Adewuyi Olatunde is a professional with a degree in quantity surveying from UNILAG and Federal Polytechnic Ilaro 2014 and 2008 respectively. In 2017, she initiated an online community comprising over 300 Muslim women to provide them with guidance on leading a wholesome life, particularly within the context of marriage. As a certified marriage counselor and the founder of Tranquil Home Islamic Counseling Services, a registered company, she specializes in aiding individuals and couples to overcome marital challenges and cultivating secure, tranquil homes. Halima is also the author of two books, When the Storm Hits in Your Marriage and When Words Fail You, with the focus on maintaining mental stability during marital difficulties and enhancing communication within marriage. Currently, she is pursuing studies in NLP and CBT to equip herself with the tools and techniques necessary to assist her clients in coping with mental health challenges that impact their life and marriages. It's a pleasure to have you here, ma'am.
The pleasure is all mine. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I'll quickly run through the objective of today's panel before we get into it. So, in our current era of increasing awareness about mental health struggles, families and immediate communities are expected to be the first line of support for affected individuals. However, this support is often lacking. Our strength as an Ummah is based on our collective strengths as individuals and families. Therefore, as we strive to build a stronger, more resilient Ummah, we must recognize the vital role that family play in preserving the mental health of individuals, families, community, and Ummah at large. By exploring the intersection of our faith and mental well-being, we can uncover the secrets to fostering a supportive environment that allows individuals to thrive and communities to flourish. Our discussion here today will delve into various ways in which family and community can positively impact mental health, including providing emotional support, reducing stigma, and promoting healthy coping mechanisms. We will also explore examples of successful community based initiatives and support programs that have made a positive impact on mental health within the Ummah. By the end of today's discussion, inshallah, participants will have a deeper understanding of the critical role that family and community plays in preserving mental health and the practical steps they can take to create a supportive environment for themselves and others. They will also gain knowledge of resources and initiatives that can help them access support and services and be empowered to take an active role in promoting mental health and well-being within their own families and communities. This discussion aims to inspire a sense of collective responsibility and action to prioritize mental health and the well-being of this woman. Um, Bismillah, we start. So my first question is directed to both our speakers, and it goes thus: how can family and community members support individuals with mental health conditions such as depression and anxiety without perpetuating harmful stigma or stereotypes?
Okay, so who's going first?
You can go first, ma.
Although I think you should go first, ma.
Like, not like
Hey, Agbalajawa.
Jen, stop that. Okay, so that's what I'll carry on. For that
Um,
question, actually, the support should come from home first. That's the
Mm,
immediate place, and it is very, very crucial. They play a crucial role. If your family don't know you, if your family cannot support you, then there's no how the people outside will be able to understand or support you. Even when the outside world wants to support you, and there's a layback from the home, it gives them also a layback on trying to help. So the first thing the family should do is educate themselves. What is mental health? They need to
yeah.
understand what mental health is all about first before they can even say they want to help. It is not everything that's about spiritual. What is mental health? How can you identify that this person has a mental health issue? If you don't know anything about mental health, how do you want to help? You cannot give what you don't have. That's the first thing. The other one is using compassionate languages, as in languages that that compassionate, good languages, good words, affirmation, positive affirmations, using good words that are soothing, not something that can bring somebody down, but something that can uplift the people around them. If the family uses foul languages, of course, some people don't even have mental health, but when you use foul languages for them, it brings them down. But when you start using words that are very encouraging, it will surely uplift them. And of course, remember that there's another people that says that if you don't have anything good to say, you keep quiet. Instead of you using
Yes.
something that's going to bring somebody down, use words that are going to be inviting, that are going to be encouraging, that are going to be soul lifting. Another one that we should also on the family should also understand is that mental health is real. It is real. It's not about somebody's forming it. It is real. So how do we now normalize it? Discuss it at home. When you start discussing about mental health at home, people around will understand that okay, this is mental health. This, after they've read, you need to discuss. It's not about you just reading and keeping it to yourself. It's about you reading, discussing it, and implementing it. These ways you help people around you to understand that this is what mental health is all about. It is real, and how do you cope with it? And they also know that since my family are around me, they can hold me. They are going to be strong for me. They are going to be there for me. They are going to keep me going. They will hold my hands while I'm in that journey. Another one that we should also look at, the family should also try to look at is when it gets to a stage, not everything that the family can do. You need to seek for professional help for that person. It is very
Yes.
necessary. That's why I said it is not about spiritual alone. So people just say, "Ah, because you don't do your scam, that's why you have mental issues." No, it's not about that. You have to look for professionals that really understand what mental health is all about and can help that person before it gets worse. Some people do their scale morning, afternoon, night, they do a lot of istighfar by saying that there's still somewhere in their mind, in their heart, that is still depressed, that is not happy. They know there is Allah, they know they worship Allah, but then there's one part of them that is still not fulfilled. And that part that is not fulfilled can also affect the other part that is struggling to hold on to faith. Then we need to be patient with them. It is not in a hurry. We need to be very patient with them. Anybody that has mental health issues around us, or anybody we feel that we are kind of seeing a symptom, we need to be patient with them. Don't hurry them. Don't tell them that are you the only one? No, 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 no. It is step by step. It's a
Mm,
gradual process. Until they get there, we all are going to support them as a family.
naam. Jazakallah khairan, ma.
Why, Halima,
Now,
pass it
Sister
to you.
Halima.
Um, now, Jazakumullah khairan for that. Firstly, I'm going to apologize because I have a little engineer here that is disturbing me. All right, so Olori have said a whole lot, but let me just add to what she have said. You see,
Okay.
when we talk about mental health, it has to do with the state of the mind, right? It has to do with how our thoughts affects the way we feel and how our feelings affect the way we behave, right? That's just in summary what mental health is about. And then, just like our body, we fall sick in our body and we have chronic disease that affects our body, that affects the state of our well-being when it comes to our physical body. We have the same thing that affects the mind. An example of such, for the body, you can have diabetes, you can have hypertension and stuff like that. But for the mind, what affects our mind, different things, the different kind of disease that affects the mind that people refer to mental health issues. For example, we have anxiety, like you rightly said, and then we have depression. You understand? So when you see someone that has anxiety, because it's something that is affecting the mind is not something that is visible, right? People, you can't tell if someone has anxiety, literally looking at them, right? But you'll be able to identify that through their line of thoughts, through their behavior, and through the way they feel most of the time. So when you find yourself in this state and you notice someone that is having this feeling of hopelessness, as in the person is always anxious, the person is always speaking in negative terms, right? You should be able to sense that something is wrong with this person. The person may not tell you that something is wrong, but sometimes they don't even believe that something is wrong with them. So you as a person, how do you assist the person that is going through anxiety or depression? The first thing is that you have to educate yourself. You have to know, you have to have knowledge about what anxiety is about, what anxiety is all about, what depression is about, and how does it affect these people? How do they show up? How do they show up in communities? How do they show up in societies? How do they show up for themselves? How do they show up in relationship? Knowing and having knowledge about what this thing is all about, assist you in knowing how to be there for people that are struggling with any of these mental health issues, right? So, and two, listening without judgment. Sometimes we listen when someone is telling us what they are going through, and then you realize that, oh, what's wrong with you? Why are you this down? Why are you this gloomy? What's going on? And the person tells you what the issue is. For you, you may think that there's no big deal in this thing that you just said. Why are you making a mountain out of a molehill? For you, it's easy, quote and unquote. But for the person we all do not have the same emotional threshold. You understand? So listening without judgment. When someone tells you that, okay, in fact, I'm going through a lot, I don't know what is happening to me, and then you ask the person the question that, what is the lot that you're talking about? And the person says, let's say for instance, I have I don't have, I'm just trying to think of an instance. Person tells you, in fact, I don't even know what to eat. I haven't eaten since morning, for example. That thing seems something minute, like, ṣé torí pé ẹ tí ì jẹun? Is it because you've not eaten that you are this sad, that you are this gloomy or stuff like that? That we shouldn't be in a state where we just, ignore and then try to invalidate the person's feeling. That, what's the big deal in that? Is that the reason why you're acting this way? No. Listen without judgment. Don't judge the person. Just listen. In fact, don't even offer solution immediately. But sometimes what they just need is a listening ear, someone that will listen to them, someone that will understand how they feel, someone that will just say, "Oh, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. Oh, I understand. I can imagine how you're feeling." Using right words just to calm them down, to let them understand that they are not alone, to let them understand that you are here for them. It is very, very important. When you help people in this way with your words, listening, knowing about this thing, educating yourself, and then with we have another way by which we can support people that are going through anxiety or depression is to encourage them to seek help. When you notice a friend or a family member that you sense that it's likely this person is going through a mental health disorder, and you see that it's something beyond you, you can't handle it, it is best that you advise and encourage them to seek professional help. Encourage them to seek professional help, to see a therapist that is going to help them clear clear the fog that I said mental health is about our thoughts, our feelings, and our behavior. Sometimes the therapist will just ask a question that is going to just be the light bulb. The question may be something that will just clear all the thoughts that they have that has been disturbing them. And this is something that therapists has been, they've been trained to do. So encourage them to seek professional help. Be there for them, listen without judgments, educate yourself to know more about what mental health is, about what this state has, so that you know how best to be there for them. Now that's all I have for now.
Okay, can I chip in? Can I chip in something?
No,
Okay,
okay,
so I
ma.
would like to chip in a part of a member of the family that a lot of people overlook, and that's the children when they fall into mental health disorder. Sometimes some of these kids, just like academia, is not assimilate. I'm not assimilating. Maybe they have an exam and they're not assimilating. And the next thing you hear is, why are you not assimilating? You're not just concentrating, just go and sit down somewhere. Meanwhile, something is there disturbing this child that is not making that child assimilate. It's not even the child has not been reading, but there's something that is just not making that child assimilate. In that case, some parents will just look aside and don't pay attention to that child. Meanwhile, they are supposed to seek further a professional to help the child out, or go to the school to also check how the child is faring in school. If possible, see the school counselor. So that aspect of the children, we should not overlook it. It is not only the adults that fall into mental health disorder, even the children also does.
Now, moving to the next question. How can family and community members encourage ways community-based community-based initiatives like support groups, mental health workshop to foster a sense of belonging and connection among Muslims? Now, I don't think Sister Halima is here, so maybe you want to go first, ma.
Okay. So,
I'm here.
I mean,
Okay, ma.
Halima is there. Halima, please go on.
Okay, you can go first, ma, Sister
No,
Halima.
Olori, I'm just
Halima,
letting
please go
Sister
on.
Maya to know that I'm here.
Halima, please
Olori,
go on. You are there.
go on. Okay. Okay. Sorry, Stasma, can you take the question again?
Okay, how can family and community members encourage ways to introduce community-based initiatives like support groups, mental health workshops to foster a sense of belonging and social connection among Muslims?
Okay. Sincerely, support groups are very, very important, especially for us as women, because in support groups, you have people of similar interests, people that will be able to share their experience with you, people that will be able to share their story for you to know that, okay, you are not alone in this. When we share our story, we inspire others to know that whatever stage they are in, whatever it is that they are going through, there's a way out. They are not in it alone, and it is just the phase. It brings a kind of hope for whoever is going through any kind of challenges that has to do with their mental health, that is affecting their mental health stability, to know that at least if this person has gone through this thing and she has succeeded and she's now in a stage where she's doing better for herself, then inshallah I can also, overcome these challenges. So having support groups, like online support groups where you meet different women that share their experiences, that share their stories, to encourage you, is a way where is a way by which we can assist ourselves. And um encouraging workshops just like this one that's MST has organized,
Okay.
creating awareness about what mental health is, what are the things that we need to do, how can we uh, cope, what are the coping mechanisms that we need to know, we need to do. It's a way of creating awareness and helping people that are going through whatever kind of mental health instability to understand and know what they need to do. It's like a form of enlightenment. And then having like a peer support, having someone that has gone through such thing, helping you with ways and strategies by which they have been able to navigate that challenge. You just like having a mentor, someone that you look up to, that you know that okay, this person has gone through this particular stage, and this is what they did. They did A, B, C, and D. If I'm able to be in the do A, B, C, and D, inshallah, I know that with Allah's rahmah and mercy, I can actually overcome stuffs like this. So these different things are ways by which we can assist people that are struggling with mental health instability.
Um, Jazakallah khairan.
Mhm.
Okay. So in addition to what Alima has said, we need to go back to the grassroots. To the grassroots. Mental health is a word that everybody knows about, everybody talks about, everybody hears about it. But what takes you to that mental health disorder? We need to go back to the grassroots. From the young stage, we need to like enlightening them what mental health issue is all about. How do you prevent yourself from falling into that stage? How do you identify it? Because some of these mental issues starts from when they are still very young. And because nobody is there to attend to them, it becomes a trauma. At the end of the day, by the time they grow older, it becomes something that they cannot manage. But if we start from cradle and start enlightening all the children that this is what mental health is all about, then it can also help us. Another one that we should also look at is community, involving the community, involving the especially community leaders. Some of these workshops that we take out, some community leaders don't even know about it. They don't know what it's all about. So they themselves need, they also need to be taught. They also need that workshop on what mental health is all about. By the time you involve them and you let them know that, okay, this is what is happening, this is what can happen, how can you help your community? So how do you prevent your community from falling into or having high rates of mental health disorder and things like that? It can also help us. And it will help a lot of people. But if you don't involve the community leaders, they might not know how they can also transfer these things to their community. Why I'm talking about the community leader is that sometimes you go out talk about mental health issue, but the way you communicate, they might not understand. But when you involve their community leader and the community leader finds a way to talk to them, then there's no how. They will listen to the community leader, and on time they can pick whatever they want to pick from it, and to be easier for them to understand. Communication is very, very key. And to have an effective communication, you need to go to those people that you understand their language. I think with that, I've been able to add a little to what Alima has said.
Thank you so much, ma. So, next question. We are obviously in the technology age. So, how can technology like online support groups and mental health practitioners be leveraged to reach and support Muslim communities?
Technology. Technology that we're saying that is a necessary. Okay, I won't use the necessary. Okay, let me just say it's a necessity. By saying that we know
Yeah.
the otherwise. But in this aspect now, we are looking at how it can also help. That's the positive side of technology. When
Yeah.
I got this topic, I was thinking about how can we have mental health apps, applications, just like we're having Zoom, we are having WhatsApp and other applications online. How can we also have mental health applications? How can we have a teletherapy services online through technology, where where the therapist is going to be there and give support on what people can do? That is also possible. We can also think of there was something like, okay, let's say something like the webinars, teach people this thing as a reality of what mental health is all about through technology. If we look at the way people draw, some people are not so close to having or moving, or some people are even shy to even see a professional. But by the time they understand that these apps are there, it makes them, it boosts their morale. By the time they use the app the first time, the second time, the third time, they might be forced to speak out and then, okay, I'm using this particular app. By the time they talk to one or two people, the third person, okay, you have used this particular app, then I think you need to see a professional. It can also help them. So I think technology can go a long way to help a lot of people that are not ready or are finding it very difficult to seek for professional services.
Or people that are shy or
Yes,
don't
people
want.
that are shy, they don't want their, because they are scared of confidentiality. They don't want people to know
Yes.
because of the stigma that a lot of people say that you have mental health disorder. People don't know the how it is. They don't know the genesis of it. So they are so shy. They don't want their stories to be out. But by the time they see all some of these technological apps and things like that, it will boost their confidence and help them to stay strong.
Thank you so much, ma. Sister Halima.
Now,
Do you
um,
have any
well,
to us first?
yeah, we are here now having this session online, leveraging on technology, right? I'm not where I'm not in the studio, and that's the joy and that's the beauty of leveraging on technology to assist us in whatever it is that we are doing. So, just like we've said, having a support group online is one of the things that the ways by which we can leverage on technology to assist us in handling this issue of mental health, right? Because it creates this accessibility for people that are struggling with such issue with the challenges of mental health, to be able to reach out anonymously. When you have a platform by which someone is able to reach out to the admin, and then the admin shares in a group for others to share their experiences about how they were able to navigate those challenges. It's a way by which we are leveraging on technology as well, right? And then when we have a situation, there are different apps as well, apps that we can use to help ourselves, because mental health disorders and mental health issues are numerous. It's not just anxiety and depression. We have ADHD, we have obsessive,
Compulsive
subhanallah,
disorder,
is it dilation?
obsessive
OCD,
compulsive
OCD.
disorder, OCD.
OCD.
Yes, OCD. We have different things. Anxiety, we have depression. And alhamdulillah, there are apps, the applications that you can just go to Play Store, download them, especially for something like ADHD, where you have issues with being focused, where you have challenges in being focused at what you're doing. Because that ADHD sometimes comes from a place of trauma, like you're having a kind of feeling that you're not good at something, when you're procrastinating and you're having challenges being focused, is a sign that there's something you're running away from, right? There's something you're running away from, and that is a mental health disorder as well. So there are apps that you can use, application online that you can just go to Play Store and then download, that will assist you in tracking your progress, that will help you to maintain focus, help you to manage your time very well. So these are ways by which we can leverage on technology to assist us in handling mental health challenges, because it creates accessibility. And then another way by which you can leverage on technology is content. Of course, technology, social media, on Instagram, there are so many contents out there. There are so many Instagram handles, people that are talking about mental health or trauma is about, right? We have our own social media handles where we enlighten people, where we share stuffs, where we educate people on what, mental health is, how they can manage those things, how they can leverage on self-love, self-awareness, and stuffs like that. So yeah, these are the ways by which we can use technology to provide help for people that are having mental health challenges.
Thank you so much for your contribution. So, moving on to the next question. In what ways can collaboration between mental health professionals, community leaders, and religious scholars help develop cultural, sensitive, and effective mental health services for the Muslim communities? Um, Dr. Rashida.
Mhm. Okay. Collaboration. The word collaboration
Yes.
is very key. It's very key because nobody knows it all. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, we can.
Can you hear
Yes, I
me?
can. Yes,
Yes, I can hear you, ma.
yes, I can. That's my, I can hear
Okay,
you.
it's
Yes,
very,
I
it's very, very faint.
Yes, I can hear her.
Okay. So when I said the collaboration is very key because nobody knows it all. And for all these things to be effective, we need to bring our hands together. We need to come together as one, unite ourselves. Different people from different professions, from different organizations coming together to achieve one major goal, and that's to help out, to give support. For religious leaders, not all religious, I said when we started that it's not about being everything being spiritual, 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 spiritual. They need to also be trained on what mental health is all about. They need to have their own training. They need to understand it. In the process, also inculcating, bringing in what Islam has said. You can train people on as professionals, at the same time bringing what Islam has said into it. How do you help out when you are depressed? What do you do when you have anxiety? What do you do when you have fear in you? What do you do when there are so many things that is in the Quran and the Hadith that we can use while training them. They can also bring it as the mental professionals can learn from them, they can also learn from them. So these two, it's very important that we collaborate with them. Another one is that there should be regular community joint programs on mental health. It's not about you just going Fasilato alone and they talk about depression. When you are depressed, just do this as can, do this as can, and that's the end. No. Some people might not understand the first time they are spoken about it. But when it becomes something that is regular, consistency helps a lot. So when it becomes something that is regular, we come maybe once in a month or once in 2 months, and we talk about this thing. Just like we're having a joint counseling session. or a group counseling session, we can also come together and do that in the community. It will also go a long way. Another one is creating resource materials, writing about mental health. When we go out, we realize that some people will just give us a small pamphlet and just give it to us. Okay, all this, and at your leisure time, you read it. We can also start doing that. We start reading about it. We write about it. The person, the imam comes, writes his own, and that person comes, writes his own, and we bring everything together in a short form. Some people cannot read something that is very long. Some people don't like long things. But when you make it very short, brief, and direct, they can pick it. And it sticks longer. So resource materials should be readily available for people to be able to read and understand. It doesn't have to be something that is very big. It doesn't have to be something voluminous. No, it does not. But something very little and direct can also help. Then also, we should not forget our culture is also very important. What does the culture say about mental health? What is it called? Yes, we're talking about Islam here, we're talking about professionals, yes, but sometimes there's a conflict when it comes to culture. So we also need to dig down what culture understands by mental health, how the culture is also ready to help people with mental health disorder, or how we can help ourselves understand this, how can we relate with people around us. If we want to build a community, then we need to work as a community. And the only way we can work as a community is by collaborating and being patient and ready to learn from one another. Of course, learning does not stop, it's a continuous thing. Assalamu
Yeah.
alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Jazakallah khairan kathira. Sister Halima.
What do I want to say again? Olori have said virtually everything. Olori, thank you. Let me do. All right. She have said virtually everything that we need to know, and on how collaborations with imams, Muslim leaders, and the professionals can help in developing, sorry, in developing culturally sensitive and effective mental health services for Muslim community, right? Because in our culture, there are some certain things that are sensitive. Let's say, for instance, the issue of divorce. I think the society has not yet gotten to a stage where we accept that people that are divorced, they are not a kind of slave in the society. They are not bad eggs society, especially in our home. You hear things like, oh, okay, it's because she does not have good character. That's why her husband divorced her. Oh, okay, she's because she's she's like this. Probably she's too choosy. Probably she has bad character. That's why her husband sent her out of her home. That's why she's divorced. And when they say things like this, because there was a time, was it not last week, that there's this particular topic of discourse on Facebook where they're talking about a divorce woman being choosy, like she doesn't want XYZ kind of man. And then you see different kinds of comments on Facebook by brothers, let me say the other gender, trying to like castigate and say, oh wow, she's divorced and she's still having preference. So Makbembe, she's going to do this and this, stuffs like that. And the person that finds herself in this position, she did not find herself in that position because it's something that she wished for. Something led her to that stage, right? So for us to collaborate, when the professionals collaborate with Muslim leaders like the imams, they can share stories where we have. I know there's this story in the Hadith where is her name Bariro? Yes, Bariro. She was the one that actually told her husband that she's not interested again. I think she was a slave when her husband married her in Europe, and then when she became a free person, she said she do not have any feelings any feelings for him anymore, and she's not interested in the marriage. Imagine that she sought Kulum. And the husband couldn't, he couldn't fathom the fact that the wife was leaving him. And he was begging her, even on the streets of Medina. The Prophet ﷺ was there. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The Prophet ﷺ did not, chastise Bariro. The Prophet ﷺ did not say that because he was not in the community.
Okay, so assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, so, I don't know, is Alima still speaking?
No, I think her network has
Okay.
logged her out.
Okay, so another thing I would like to chip in here is involving involving the spiritual leaders, giving them topics to talk on mental health issues, different topics. Let them lead. Let them lead it. It's not just we are professionals. We know what it is, but when they lead this, they have other ways that they can also allow people to understand or help people to understand. When you get them involved in it, it's always easier to communicate with the Jama, because they can also bring it out. They can also bring out what Islam has said on different issues, as I said earlier on. They can tell about what Islam has said about different issues. That Islam also understands that these issues exist and these are the ways that we can go about it. So involving the imams also goes a long way in dealing with some of these things, propagating it. I know Halima is up.
Yes. Now, Sister Halima, assalamu alaikum. Can you hear us?
Uh,
Naam, yes, we
yes,
can
yes, I
hear you,
can.
ma.
Can you hear me? All right. So I was explaining something that the imams, creating awareness about these situations, and there's this other story in the hadith of our mother Aisha radiallahu anha, the blasphemy story. I can only
Mm,
imagine how that story made her feel on the inside, how that story affected her mental health state. Do you understand? These things are things that are sensitive, and at that point in time, we need to be careful of the words that we say. We need to be careful of how we address issues like this. Because, like I said, mental health has to do with how your thoughts, the different thoughts that are going on in your head affects the way you see yourself, it affects the way you feel, and it affects the way you behave. Now, someone may just say something, you just said something, and then you said it, you've left. The words that you said will continue to linger in the other person's mind, the person that finds herself in that shoe, and it can go a long
yeah,
way in affecting her mental health stability. It can even get to a point where it takes her to being depressed. Can get to a point where she's so anxious. She'll be so scared that, oh, they said this, am I a bad person? Am I this? They start having different thoughts about themselves, having hating themselves to the extent of even want to commit suicide. Right? So when we collaborate with imams for them to keep saying on members, keep educating people, enlightening people that we should be careful of how we address some issues, of how we talk to people. And there's this hadith that Prophet said that a Muslim is someone whom other Muslims are safe from the words of their mouth and from the things that they do with their hands. Right? So when we collaborate with religious leaders and they start citing examples of these stories, and when you cite example, I cite an example of Barira, I cite an example of Aisha radiallahu anha. It's got a point that just a question from her husband, Aisha radiallahu anha, and the reaction of her parents, it's brought about a kind of feeling in her that she was just dumbfounded. She did not know what to say. The only thing she just said was that she's going to say what Prophet Yakub said and that she's going to be patient. And then she turned her back to them. That is something that affected her. Just her husband, what did her husband say? Her husband did not say horrible things to her. Prophet Sam only asked that, are you sure? Just tell me what happened. Are you He knows that she's not guilty, but there's this rumor and they just don't want to be sure. If that kind of word is something that can affect our mother Aisha, and the reaction of our parents can affect her, that she was not happy. That's what mental health is about, really. It has to do with our mind. If that action or those words, as small as they are, can affect her, now imagine the different words that flies around on social media, and then if we do not have the religious leaders, the imams, who would keep talking and about it, enlightening people about, no, you should watch your words, you should do this, we should do that. It's going to really go a long way in affecting the human itself. We get to a stage where people will be stereotypes, and then where people would feel like, okay, let me continue to endure this pain where I am, because if I should leave, the society or the human will see me as something else. But when we collaborate with religious leaders as mental health professionals, when we collaborate with them to let them know about these things, okay, these are the impacts that this thing can have in the society, that can have in the human. These are the things, these are the effects of us not understanding the importance of mental health and managing it and teaching people how to relate with others in society. It can go a long way in affecting the mental health of the Muslim Ummah. You just hear that a sister commits suicide. And then you start asking yourself, Kilo fa, I thought that sister wears hijab. Does she not know that this is and that? Forgetting that probably it is someone somewhere online or offline or wherever or in Halko that said just one thing, and then the sister starts thinking about it. So we need to collaborate. The collaboration is very, very important. It is very, very important if we want to keep maintaining sanity in our humor, right? Especially in this day and age.
نعم. جزاك الله خيرا كثيرا. بارك الله فيكم جميعا. And we have come to the end of today's panel session. I don't know if anyone in the audience has any questions for us, guys.
Olórí èmi àti yín ló kù báyìí.
Abio, we realize it for us. So, as in this mental health issue is something that we really need to continue to talk about, because
It is. It is.
a lot of people are in it and people don't understand. You
Yes.
mentioned the boss the other
Yes.
time. In fact, even in polygyny, a lot of people are in this situation. But because of the
Mhm.
fear that what will society say, societal stigma, what would they
Yes.
say? What would they call me? What would they say? I
Yes.
don't
The
have the fear of
stigma.
Allah. We didn't like that stigma is there. Would even make a
Yes.
lot of people speak. It should
Yes.
make them speak
And then
out.
there's this.
And
Yes. Yes, and there's this fear of safe, being able to communicate and having a safe space to
Mm-hmm.
someone to tell what you're going through, someone to discuss it with. And that's actually a big deal because it takes a lot of strength and energy for someone to come out of their shell and say, okay, this is what I'm going through. This is what is happening to me. Because there's this fear of how will my story not become a topic online? How will my
Yes.
story not become a topic in the society? So rather than, share what they are going through, they would rather, suppress it. They would rather want to
Mm-hmm.
say, let me manage it. Because professor on my phone, there's this, if I should tell this person is going to tell this person, and then I'll become a laughing stock. So we
Yes.
have like many people wearing like a kind of mask. They pretend to be happy.
Yes. A
Why?
lot of
Because
people.
if
A
you
lot of
should
people.
know, yes, if you should know what I'm going through, you will start using my story as a topic, and I don't want that. I'm the one, despite the way I'm dressing this way, despite the way that I'm wearing this hijab, why will I tell them that this is what is affecting me? After all, I'm a Muslimah, or after all, I'm the Amira. And we need to get to a point where we
Yes.
let people know that, oh, being religious
I'm
does not mean
human.
that you're not going to have mental health instability. It doesn't. It's
It
not the
doesn't mean you
same
don't have
thing.
emotions. You have
Being
emotions.
exactly. Even the Prophet ﷺ also goes through
Salam.
grief. There's this period that they call the year of grief, the period where
Mm-hmm.
Khadija
Yes.
and
Yes,
And his
Abu
uncle
Talib,
died.
when they died,
Yes.
the prophet was grieving. He is the prophet for crying out loud. How religious can you be as the prophet? It was sad. So why would you say that? Okay, because you are religious, you should not be emotional. Excuse me, or that you because you are religious, because you are the Amira, then you're not supposed to be crying, and then people will feel like invalidate whatever it is you are going through. Like, let me use an instance. Maybe let's say your husband just got married again. We are human beings. There's no amount of preparation you have. There's no amount of understanding of the deen that you have about polygyny. You will still feel it within you.
The emotion will still be there.
Accepting that reality, transitioning, you're still going to feel it. And then when we have the society of people saying that, "Ah, ṣé àwọn ọlọ́mọ kọ́kọ́ fẹ́yàwó lé ni? Tí wọ́n ti ẹ̀ ti pọ̀ jù." They try to invalidate your feelings. You get to a point where you begin to you begin to stuff in those emotions. And emotions, they are like, I used to say, they're like babies. If you do not attend to that emotion, the way it's going to pop up, you will be surprised. This
You
until you
say they're
attend
like
to
babies.
every emotion, every feeling you have.
You
Yes.
say they're like babies.
Let me finish. They're like babies in the sense that, if you have a baby that is crying, if you have
I
a baby that is
understand. I was just
crying,
bringing another
until you
example.
attend to that baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right.
You say they are babies.
I'm
I
actually
say
listening, no
that
Lori.
they're like a bottle of mineral.
Hmm.
I use Coke, an example that has gas in it, and you continue to compress
Hmm.
it. It will just a certain stage that it's going to explode, and by that time you might not be able to control
Exactly.
it again. That's where emotions are,
Exactly.
and there is no right or wrong
Yes.
emotion. Your
No.
situation will tell you the kind of
As
emotion
long
you're
as
going to
you are
bring
a
out.
human being.
Yes.
Yes. So we need to get to that stage where we understand that um, being religious does not mean that you're not going to have mental health challenges. No. Being religious does not mean that, in fact, you should even expect to be tested by Allah because you are religious.
Exactly.
And Allah SWT has prepared our mind towards it. He said, we are going to test you with something of fear, with something of anger.
yeah,
Do you know what fear is?
Mm-hmm.
Anxiety. You're scared of the future. They're going to test you with something of fear. You're scared of what is going to happen in the future. Something of hunger. It being me. No,
Fear of
Allah
unknown.
said it. We're going to test you with a loss of life. That's grief. Allah said it that He's going to test us with these things. And but because we are Muslims, we know that Allah has told us, and He said, "Fabashir is sobirin." We know that for every of these challenges that we are facing, we have to be patient. Yes, We are have to be
Um,
patient. But it gets to a point where all these thoughts, you won't be able to undo them. They will just be too much
Mm-hmm.
for you. And then it gets to a point
Mm-hmm.
where, you just become numb, or you're just there. You don't know what to do. You're
That's
just
when it
there.
becomes a
At
tire.
that point, you need to seek help. Don't stuff in. And that's the importance of support group. That's the importance of you have someone like a support system, someone that you can share your feelings, that you can share your pain with, someone you trust, and that person would feel okay. I think at this point you need to seek a professional. You need to seek a help from a professional, someone that is going to help you, because the person is trained to do that for you. They'll help you clear your thoughts. Sometimes it takes just one question,
And I would like to chip this
just
also
one
in.
question to ask a client, and then the client should just go, "Wow, I never thought
talking.
of it that way." I've had cases like that. I'll just say, "Okay, what if it is like this?" Oh, I never thought of it that way. That's the importance of seeking help. And no,
I would also like
I
to chip
think her
this in.
network is logged out.
Yes, I also like to chip this in. There are mental health professionals and there are mental health professionals, in quotes. If you know you cannot handle a situation, you cannot handle an issue, you cannot handle a case, please don't dabble into it. Because if you dabble into it, you will damage the clients more. If you know you cannot handle a particular case, just transfer it to somebody that can handle it. Please, for Allah's sake. Because there are lots of mental health professionals outside there that don't know how to handle some cases. We all have our strengths and we have our weaknesses. Please just face your strength and move to somebody that can help that person heal properly and not damage more.
We have come to the end of today's session. Jazakallah khairan for your contribution. Allah reward you both abundantly.
Amen.
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم.
Wa alaikum salam.